Let's move to the next one. Git overview. Every developer, right, they are working on some programming languages. I'm not saying any specific one, but they will be working on something. C language, C++, C hash, .NET, Java, Node.js, or anything else. So maintaining the code on local system is very risky. Gone are the days, earlier we were doing that. If I talk about around 10 or 15 years back, we were maintaining our code on our local system, desktop or laptop. But that's not a good idea. Suppose you are working on something from last 1 week and you have developed your code and suddenly your system crashed. What you will do now? You cannot write the same code because you might have some idea in your mind at that point of time. You had some invention, you written the code accordingly. Now, how would you retrieve that? That's one challenge. Another challenge is developers may be located globally. In a single application, 5 different developers are working and they are globally available. One guy is in India, one guy is in UK, another guy is in US. How would you collaborate your code? And sometimes you may be working on the same file. Suppose there's a big feature and there is a single code file for that. The same guy from India is working on this file and another guy from UK is also working on the same file. How would you collaborate your code? Maybe one guy's code is working perfectly fine because he made some changes. Another guy code is also working fine, perfectly fine. But once you integrate this code into a single file, then your both functionality will not work. There may be some syntax error. You are defining some variable, that guy is also defining some variable. They are conflicting with each other, or you are using the same variable name. There can be any challenge. So to overcome these things, there are many code versioning tools available. They can help you to manage your code distributively. That means team can be globally available. You make some code changes, you keep the code on your local, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you commit that code into the repository so that at any point of time, as a team manager, I'm sure that my working code is available on a, you can say, a remote server on the cloud. It's not available on any of the local system. You may have some additional changes on your local system, that's fine. But the working code should be always in the Git repository. So Git is a free and open source distributed version control system. First of all, it's open source. And another thing is it's free. Open source means anyone can contribute to that. And it's free of cost available. You don't need to pay anything for that. You don't need to buy licensing for it. You can simply install it on any system, whether it's Linux based OS or Mac or Windows. You can install Git very easily and you can start using it. So users can create local repository and push to the server. You can start the development on your system. You make some code, you test it. Once you think, okay, this code is working fine, let's push it to the server. User can create feature branches and merge into main branch by creating pull request. Usually we don't work on the main branch. That's not good because the main branch is containing my clean code, which is a working version of the code. What I do is I create a feature branch. That means copy of the main branch. Suppose my main branch name is development, DEV. What I do is I create a feature branch out of that, and then I will make all the code change into my feature branch so that I'm not affecting any other code or I'm not affecting the main branch. Once I will test my code, once I will perform all the unit test cases, integration testing, once I feel it's working perfectly fine, then I will create a pull request and I can merge my code into the main branch. So what is Git repo, how to create it, what is pull request, how to commit, what are the code, what are the commands, all these things we'll be talking in upcoming slides. So are you using Git in your current project, Srikanth?
No, Neeraj.
Okay, that's good then, because I'm explaining from very beginning level. So I was thinking that if you are already aware about Git, then it would be like not of much interest for you.
No. It is interesting for me because I don't know anything about it.
Okay, then it's good. So I can explain in that accordingly. So you can see that I was explaining the same thing, like there's one developer who is available in one country, right? And another developer is there, another developer is there. Now you are working on different files. Okay, so Git is distributed server that is available on the cloud. This guy will work on his code and it will commit in the sense, just save those changes on the server, not on your local system. So it will do both the things. It can push the code into the Git repo. It can pull the code as well. Why need to pull? Because other people will also update the code, right? So it need to pull as well, so that it can take the code changes from other users. Because your entire repository is one single application. You are not concerned only about your code. You should be concerned about other people's code as well, because entire code will work together. Your single file is not working alone. So every day in the morning, what we usually do is, we first of all take the pull. Pull means whatever is the latest code in my Git repository that I should pull into my local. Then I will start working. Afternoon, evening, I will do all the code changes, and at the end of the day, I will push my changes into the Git repository. Other users also, they can pull or push at any point of time, so that whatever code you are working upon, that should be up to date. Because suppose you are simply concerned about your code and you are thinking that everything is working fine, but when you will pull other stream code, then you will think that my code is not working now, because I was not aware about other teams members code. So your code should be always in a working state with other people's code as well. So that's a good practice, that you should pull the up-to-date code every day, and then you do your testing and all, so that you can say that whatever is the latest code in the server, that is working fine, and my whatever feature I'm working upon, that also I have pushed into the repository, and that feature is also working fine. Then you are good. Okay, so you can read this one. I'm not reading each and every text, I'm just explaining you. So every developer has an entire copy of the code on their local system. As I said, you can take pull, so that complete code is with you. Any changes made to the source code can be tracked by others. You are making any change and you are pushing into the repository, anyone can see the history. That yesterday evening, this guy, developer 1, developer 2, has made these code changes. Anyone can see that. There is a regular communication between the developer, because everyone is pulling the code and everyone is pushing the code into the repository. So everyone knows about each other's code, irrespective of whether your team is located on a single location or you have a globally distributed team. So this is the theoretical concept. Now let's talk about how to create a Git repository.
Neeraj,
Repository is nothing but yeah.
sorry, those three developers are using different softwares, right? Like one is using Java, one is using Python, and one is using the SQL.
No, it's not
I mean,
software. It's like they are working on multiple type of files. I mean, this guy may be working on Python code. This guy is working on writing a MySQL query. This guy is writing a Java code, something like that. So this entire code can be maintained in a single repository.
okay. No, I was thinking like, do they need to work on the same code or something like that? I mean, if he's working on Python, writing Python code, the other developers also write the Python code, or do they need to write
They
some
can write. I
another
mean,
code?
it's fine. They can write. My point is, the entire application, it contains some SQL code as well, and maybe multiple developers are working on that. Suppose 3 people are hired as SQL developer. So those 3 people will be writing SQL queries. Now another set of developers are there, 5 guys are there who are Python expert. Those people are writing Python code, right? Similarly, we hired 2 more guys who are Java expert, and they are writing Java code, because my application is such a way that I need some Python components, and in order to interact with database, I need like SQL queries as well. And my system, my application may be interacting with some other application, and for that connectivity, I may need some Java components as well. So this is just an example that there can be multiple developers. They may be working on different type of files, but they can still collaborate your code in the single repository.
Okay. Okay.
Because in a team, everyone is never work on the same technology. If I talk about my team, there is a guy who is working on UI part. So he is concerned only about UI changes because he does not have any idea about Python or AWS or any any like data analytics things, but he is good in UI stuff. If I talk about myself, I'm a Python developer, I'm working on AWS, something like that. There are other people who are mainly concerned about infrastructure or networking. So different team members in a team can be working on different type of work, but still you can maintain the entire code into the single repository.
Okay.
Let's move to the next one. The next is how to create a repository. So there are many ways to do it. The very first and the simplest way is that you can simply go to Git website that is open source, free of cost, available. Let me open it. I will show you live. Okay. So I will open, just give me a moment. There's a website github.com. This is like open source, github.com, it's there. You see this one, where the world builds software. Okay, you can see this one. GitHub is where over 83 million developers shape the future of software together, contribute to the open source community, manage the Git repository and everything, right? So you can click on this and you can create your account. Since I have already created, it's not asking me because I'm already logged in into this. Otherwise, if you will open github.com first time, they will ask you to create your account, and that's completely free of cost, available. It's not a big deal. After that, you can create a repository. In my case, I have already created a few repository a few years back. You can see that updated on June 11, 2019, around 3 years